Welcome to the Beef and Barnzy Show with real talk reviews, and today we got a good one. How's it going, Stu? How are things in Pflugerville?
They're pretty good. It's the first day that you could wear a jacket comfortably, or switch your aircon off in your car and drive around with the windows down. So,
yeah, gosh, it's been a little bit since we did our product review. We had a tough month last month with both of us bowling and being gone and everything else, but we managed to sneak one in here, and man, we got a good one. This ball has been really good. We keep seeing it everywhere. Tom Hess talked about it on our show on Tuesday.
Josie Barnes.
Yeah.
No, she used it in the in qualifying and in the match play. And that was one of her options that she started with on the show. She went away from it because she was throwing it through the back of the building, to quote her. But yeah, it's definitely been quite popular. John says, I just got the X2 and he loves it. Well, that's good to hear, John. Somebody asked, where's the question? Somebody asked X2 compared to the Zen. For me, the X2 is way cleaner than the Zen.
Cover-wise, they're both shiny, but it's 3 to 6 feet longer, depending on how you throw it. It's definitely another stage down from on breakdown. So
True Grit Coatings. There we go. Placed out of Florida, Tampa. So we will get all of the details, and we will start that in October. So that is exciting times.
For that.
No, it's not a dumb question, Andy. Cleaner means that it skids further down the lane. It doesn't pick up as quickly. So you'll typically, with a cleaner ball, especially if it's as strong as the X2 is, you will probably see that it makes a reaction that's looks sharper because it has a smaller amount of time to make its hook because it's skid further down the lane. So that's what we mean by cleaner.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked, because we say a lot of things that we just assume everybody knows, I think, sometimes. But because we don't say when they hook early that they're dirtier. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
maybe we should. Maybe that should be the new one.
Yeah, it is.
Can you imagine having a conversation with the ball reps? Yeah, this one's a lot dirtier than the other one. You need to clean it. Leon says the X2 comparison to the Dark Code. For me, it's a cleaner again. I would put the Dark Code in the type of Zen range. I think it's got a really big footprint. It's it probably goes Zen, Dark Code, X2. But like I say, for me, the X2 is the cleanest of all of these balls that we're talking about.
Yeah, really. I think that one kind of comes down to, are you more core? What affects you more, the core or the cover? Because that Dark Code cover is super, super clean, but the core is massive. And so, but yes, in general, I think the X2 is probably a touch below the Dark Code, and probably mostly because that core is so much bigger.
Let's quickly let's show some video. Do you want to go first, or shall I go first? Let's do you first. So this was when we were bowling over at Plano.
Kind of a hook and house shot. This is a lower, weaker pin, and it still doesn't have much trouble getting around the corner.
This was also fairly broken down, if I remember. I think this was one of the later videos we filmed.
Yeah, we were doing the matches these days, and so we'd had 5-6 games on them at least by then, plus some other footage, and you could see it start picking up. But this is where this ball, I think, really shines and steps apart a little bit. This was a lower pin. Like I said, I think given a higher pin, you could get about as far left as you need to go on something like this. I would say maybe Gosh, we've had a couple other things with Axiom Pearl. Definitely cleaner. Again, Axiom Pearl much more rounded.
Check this one out. Check out the balls on Barnes here. You could tell he only needed 8 to win.
I'm going to celebrate a win here in a little while. I'm taking that victory. Head-to-head matches have been a beating, except for you. So,
Mike says, by lower pin, do you mean pin to pap or pin buffer? We mean when Chris is talking about lower pin, he means below the fingers. So that would be a longer pin buffer.
Yes. Old school reference, old school habits, but yeah.
Absolutely, Mr. Skillings. Long time no speak. Yeah, the deadline for deposits for the Snowman doubles is coming up on October 1st, and Chris has got the knife out. He's ready to cut you right out of it. He's got plenty of people on the waiting list. So if you haven't put your deposit in, you're gone. I didn't pay my deposit, Chris. I paid the whole thing. Got it all done and dusted. Get it over to Jessica. So, yeah, reach out to Jessica Reyes. Is that correct? Oh, God, did I just butcher her name? I feel like I did. Oh, man, that was bad. Oh, God. What? Come on, Chris. Help me out here.
Rojas.
There we go. Oh, my God. That was terrible. I'm sorry.
I like seeing you swim in the wind every once in a while, but yeah. No, Jessica, I mean, to be honest, she's just Jessica. And that's she's one name.
Always.
She's one name famous. So,
yeah. I would imagine that if you reach out to Jessica and you let her know that you're bowling this weekend coming in, the weekend after in Oklahoma City for the regional, I think she might give you a little bit of leeway because, as Chris says, cash is king. Skillins isn't upset about cash.
There you go. The information is along the bottom, along with the room rate, Snowman doubles. I think that might need to be Snowman doubles there on the bottom, but yeah. So 99 for those of you who have not stayed at the Grand Casino actually is a good room rate. They tend to be a little higher than that most of the time, especially on the weekends. Get that code in. They get that in. This is probably, for those of you who've been around for a while, this is as close to the Red River doubles as I've seen in 20 years. And judging by how quickly it filled up, it's becoming one of the more popular events in this part of the country.
Hey, Travis, it sounds like you might need a little bit more surface on the ball. Travis says mine does nothing but skid. If the lane is dried up, though, I can get away with it on how I throw it. No one judge me. I'm just I just once in a while fun ball. No, we're not. Nobody's judging you, Travis. We're just trying to provide ideas of where you could use it. Yeah. And my suggestion to do you is if you're seeing that, I would I would suggest adding a little bit of surface, maybe 2,000, 1,000 maybe.
A 2,000 pad, and just take the shine off of it.
Or just go into the pro shop and ask him to add a little surface for you. A 2,000, 1,000 maybe if you're really speed dominant. And I think you could get something that you could use a little bit more often. Depending on what other balls you have. I mean, if you have balls that you're using and you just see this as an additional ball, then. But if you're trying to get it more in play, that's what I would do. Danny says, I never see you use pin-up A symbols, Chris. Why do you drill them so many pin down?
It's a good question, but mostly because A symbols end up flaring so much more that I end up needing that to control the flare a little bit, and they roll a little better for me versus when I put them up, then they end up flaring so much that because what I really want to do is roll it, and what A symbols want to do is change directions even quicker. And so a lot of times they, for lack of a better term, I call it lock up. You know, they'll lock up and get forward too far in front of the head pin. And so by putting them down, it allows me to smooth out that a little bit and get it further down the lane by tightening up the flare rings in the front.
Steve says, how many balls will you guys take to the Weber Cup? 6, I would imagine.
5 in a spare ball.
Chris taking a spare ball this time. Things are changing.
Well, I shoot a lot more of them than I used to.
Although we're in the, I think we're still using the spares don't matter for scoring format. So as requested by Jesper Svensson.
They don't matter till they do. You know?
Let's have a look. This is from yesterday when I was filming some stuff. I'm bowling on the previous night's house shot. For anybody who's been bowling at Mel's, the house shot's way easier now than it was before. Yeah, it's I don't know what happened, but oh my God, Chris, there is a lot of strikes at Mel's at the minute. Like,
it looks like it hooks a little more than it used to.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well down lane.
It's more blended as well. It's like it's not as sharp on the corners. But yeah, I got comfortable with this ball when I could throw it a little bit firmer and not really try and open up quite as much. I mean, I say that, but this is going a little straighter than I would have been going. I was a little more aggressive with it and a little straighter. I feel like the X1, the X1 was, for me, I could do pretty much anything with it. And I feel like the X2 is it's a little less versatile for me than the X1 was. Yeah.
The reaction to the 9-pin, I loved it.
Well, yeah, that was when I had I was close to something good and it stopped me. And I had to press the restart button. So yeah, I feel like that the people who go a little lower rev rates of like this one, I'd be fascinated to hear what the two-handers are thinking about the X2, because I know that the X1 wasn't particularly popular with the two-handers. I didn't really understand why. It just wasn't. Here we go. Look at this bad boy. There we go. That was a good one to finish on. So yeah, that was that's kind of how I see it. I see it as a kind of, it feels like it's got a longer hook phase than the UC2. For me, the UC2 stands up a little harder than the X2. I think the UC2 is slightly stronger overall, but I mean, I think those balls are in very similar ballpark. I don't know about what you've seen.
With the X1, you mean, or with the
sorry, the UC2 and the X2.
The X2 is has a little less of that ASIM look for me. And so I'm able to use, for me, the X2 is more versatile. Allows me to roll it a little bit more. It doesn't get forward as fast as the UC2 does, but the look through the first 30 feet is very similar, which is the great thing about both those balls, is that they make the lane short. They don't use a lot of energy in the first 30 feet. They don't care if there's friction in the front or not. The difference for me is the X2 continues longer for me, and where the UC2 will dig in. And with down lane oil, the UC2 would be my preference. With more friction down lane, the X2 would be my preference.
Austin says, Phil Mickelson, watch out, can we address? When you carry this much weight round, every day is leg day.
It's less weight than it used to be, though.
Yeah, but it's more weight than it was early on in the year, so I've got to.
Nice to see my cousin is checking back in. He watches 2 episodes a year, like it or not. So thanks, Austin, for showing up.
So James asked a question here that is very Florida related.
Well, a lot of Midwestern humidity areas
But
see the
I
steel.
mean,
Yeah, but
Florida is legit like it's a disaster when this happens. He says, when you bowl in a house with a lot of humidity and your approach is attacky and none of your soles and heels work, what tips and tricks do you guys use to combat the approaches? There isn't really a great solution, period. For me, I try to start throwing the ball a little slower so that I'm not like firing into the line as much, because I feel like it's the really fast stop that causes more of the issues. I would also consider carrying a slide sock. You know, one of the things that go over the top. We've actually got a video that Chris did. I haven't quite finished putting it together, but Chris goes through his process with soles and heels. But when the humidity gets super bad and the air condition isn't working very well, there aren't really massive amounts.
If you're a Dexter guy, and the one downside to some of the Dexter soles is they're synthetic, and the synthetic soles and humidity, for me, did not mix at all. As soon as it didn't matter if it was an 8, as soon as the humidity level got high, they all turned into 2s. So having a gray or in the case of the 3G shoes, the black sole was super important, and I cut them in half. And you'll have to check out that video to see exactly how I do it. And the other thing is the heel, because I can't use a full leather heel, but I do need something that helps me get started. I cut a portion of a leather heel, about an inch of it, and put it in front of a rubber heel behind it, so I can get going and then still get stopped. But yeah, the orange heel is awesome. It makes everything feel like Florida approaches. So that's how I feel like when I follow the orange heel, is that I'm bowling on Florida approaches. But if you are a Dexter guy and you're all in with Dexter, then what Stu's talking about is 100% important. Is a slide sock. My wife has used one on occasion to great success.
Yeah, her and Simonson might be the best 2 bowlers ever to use a slide sock. When Simonson busts that thing out, I always give him a hard time about it, because he often uses it when they're not that bad. And he comes over and he goes, "The sock's in play." And little bowling hack, I guess. You can buy one of the nice ones that has a little, like, you know, the elastic band that goes around, the elastic band. You could just put a sock on, like legitimately a normal sock. If you're in a real pinch.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just put it over your the front.
James politely asks your proprietor to invest in a dehumidifier. Yeah, that's I'm sure that's going to go well.
And back a little on point. Yeah, the X2 is cleaner. Again, those balls both go through the front somewhat similarly, but the volatility torque is I think a little stronger core wise, and probably a little smoother down lane, where the X2 I think comes around the corner sharper. And
yeah, for me the volatility torque's like 10 feet sooner.
Really? Okay.
It's way earlier.
It's so asymmetrical. It's a little bit out of my wheelhouse. The X2 for me is a way more usable ball on way more things. So
yeah, I think that the volatility torque is more like the UFO alert than it is any of the other balls around now. Like, it's really, for me anyway, it's kind of early and it's tumbly.
Yeah.
The volatility torque is the absolute Marmite ball of all time. You either love it or you absolutely hate it. There is nobody who bowls with the volatility torque who goes, it's okay.
It's probably true.
It's either yes or no.
It was kind of a no for me, and then Ryan ran him over with it for a while, and I see some other guys.
Dimitri
just
crushes it with the
bombs him with that thing.
Yeah,
and then nobody else has it in their bag.
The one person I saw with one hand who made me want to drill one as soon as we could was Paul Henderson. he bowled really good with it quite a few times, and I was like, wow, that ball's really special. And then I drilled it, and for me, it's just like,
yeah.
That's
and
not.
you would think, because Paul also clears the front of the lane very well. He has lower rev rate than you, but he clears the lane well, and that's his his superpower. That seems to be the deal. Is if you have a little more axis rotation, it seems like you do like it. I expected you to like it, and then you didn't at all. So
no, the first one I drilled, I think I don't know. I think they dropped a plastic ball core in it or something. I had a very weird reaction with it. It was so strange. It just didn't flare at all. I don't know what happened, but
Yeah, Casey's in on it.
There's a guy who could compete with me for greatest league bowler in America.
RST-X1 stronger than Rubicon Solid.
For me, yes.
I would say yes as well. The Rubicon cover is a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, I think the Rubicon weight block is more like you can really change the shape because of the way that is with the kind of fake balance hole type deal.
Yeah, where you swing